In this video, we're going to take a real quick look at the difference between setting up your file, in this case for web versus print like we have been. And we're going to create a custom cover for this project I just uploaded to Behance. The other thing I want to show you real quick is the sizing for the bigger images. So we're going to do the cover image, but we're also going to do the images that we would stick in line here. So for example, we see this logo here and it crops it right here. This is as big as the image is, but what if you wanted a full width, or what we call full bleed image on this website where it went edge to edge? I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So let's get started first by making a new cover image. And if I just Google cover image size for Behance, I can get this page and it shows me right here that it's going to display at 202 by 158 pixels, but we have to make the image at 404 by 316 at least because of the retina displays. So let's do that real quick. We need 404 by 316. So I'll come to Photoshop and I'll hit Command N to make a new document. We'll do 404 by 316. Make sure we're set to pixels, 72 dpi, and then we're in RGB color because this is for web now. So we don't want CMYK. We want to make sure this is set to RGB. And again, the resolution is 72 now, not 300. I'll go ahead and click OK. And here we have our tiny little thumbnail image that we're going to use for this project. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and fill this background with white. I've already got white as my background color over here. So I'll just hit Command Delete to fill it with white. I'm going to jump over to Illustrator and I'm going to just grab this icon. So I click once and then I'll double click again to get inside of this group. Click one more time to grab just that shape. Hit Command C to copy. I'll jump back over to Photoshop and I'll hit Command V to paste. And I'm just going to scale this up big. I'll hit return. Now I want to flip-flop this. I want to make my background kind of this gradient color and the letter M in white. So I'll get the eyedropper tool and I'll sample this darker blue. And then I'll hold down the Alt key, which will then sample the lighter blue, and now I've filled both the front and the back of my fills with the light and the dark color. I'll click once on my background layer. I hit the letter G to get my gradient tool. And I'm going to change this gradient from the foreground to transparent to the foreground to background color swatch. And then I'm just going to click and drag from the top left to the bottom right. And it fills it with that gradient, but I actually want to reverse how it's filling it. So I can do one of two things. I can click the reverse button right here, or I can just simply hit the letter X, which is the same as clicking on this double arrow to swap which fill is in front. So now if I try that again and I drag from the top left to the bottom right, I get that nice little gradient. I'm going to click once on my letter M. I'm coming down here to Effects, Color Overlay, and we're just going to leave it as white. So again, this is just for fun, just to show you one way that you could maybe create something that looks better than the default cover image you're given. So now, because we're saving for web, instead of just going save as and saving it as a JPEG like we've done before, we can actually come over here and come down to export. And then we have a few different options that are brand new in the latest version of Photoshop. We can just do a quick export as a PNG, or we can click on this export as, which gives us option for how to export this file and lets us really refine everything from the size to the quality of the image. And where this is really helpful when it comes to web design, you want it to look as good as possible, but not be such a huge file that it takes forever to load. So if we look over here on the left, we get our final pixel dimensions and the size of this thing. So changing your quality, and typically I found 70% is more than enough to still look good but be a much smaller file size. And in this case, this is already a really small image, so 30 kilobytes is nothing if I leave this at 100%. I might just do that for here, but on bigger images, like say in your homepage slider image, you might want to drop this down to like 70%, maybe even 65% to get that number to be less than about 150 to 200 kilobytes max. That way you get a fast loading web image. But I'm going to scale this back up. Everything else looks good, and I'll hit export all. I'll give it a name. Let's jump over to my desktop and we'll just drop it in there, and we'll call this DM logo cover. I'll hit export, and there's my JPEG. So now what we're going to do is jump back into Behance real quick and update this. So we're going to click on Edit Project. I'm going to jump over here to my cover tab. I'm going to click Upload New Image. We'll go to our desktop and we'll grab that new cover image. I'll hit Open. And I don't really need to crop it because we made it exactly to their specs. I'll hit Crop and Continue. Everything else is good to go, so I'll just hit Save Changes. And then now that that's saved, I can just X out of here and I can view my work, or make sure, we'll click save up here just to make sure that's good to go, and we should be golden. All right, so now the next thing we want to look at is how to get that full width image. So let's take a look at this and how this doesn't necessarily go full width. How can we make this take up the full width of the image? And right here, it gives you kind of a solution. Basically, to do that, we just need to make sure that the image is at least 1400 pixels wide. So let's come back into Photoshop. I'll hit Command N to get a new document, and this time we'll make it 1400 pixels wide. The height for right now, I'm not really sure how tall this is going to be, so let's just put it at a couple hundred pixels. Change our color mode to RGB, and I'll hit OK. So this is really tall and skinny, so this is obviously not going to work, but let's just kind of bring it in and get this to where we want it. I'm going to jump over and grab that full logo real quick, Command C to copy. We'll jump back into Photoshop. Go to our new document, Command V to paste. And I can scale this up to be either full width or maybe not quite full width, and we'll give it a background. So I'm just going to scroll or scale this down. And now what I can do is hit Command Option and C. So that's the same as coming up to Image, Canvas Size. And we're going to modify this canvas size on the fly. So what we're going to do is the anchor, I'm going to set it to the top border here. So we're going to expand the height, pushing everything down. So if I didn't click on that, it would expand the height on both the top and the bottom, but I already know I've got this where I want it right here. I'm just going to push it down. So we'll click on this, change the height. We're going to add, say, another, let's just do 500 pixels and see how far that gets us. I'll click OK. And that's more than enough. So now I'm just going to drag this down kind of towards the center, and let's fill the background color, maybe with a version of this gray. So I'll sample the gray from the letters. And then I'm just going to come to my color sample here and just drag it up a little bit from there just to get a lighter gray. I'll hit Alt-Delete to fill my background color. And it's a little bit too close to the same color, but I just want to show you how you can make this full screen. In fact, let's just do what we did last time. I'll click once here, Alt-click on the other one, hit the letter X to swap my fill and stroke. And let's just fill this background with that gradient again, just because it looks better. And I'll change this. Let's just do a color overlay. We'll make it white, hit OK, and now we're good to go. So the same thing here. Now a shortcut, I can use Command Alt Shift and the letter S. It's the same as coming down here to export, save for web. And this is the legacy version, so what that tells us that shortcut's probably going away in the next version, but for now we can still use it. And I can do the similar settings here. I can set my image type, and this is where we can see that our JPEG image is about 149 kilobytes, which is fine, but if I wanted to crunch it down, I could put this to, say, 70, and you can see compared to the original image, you can hardly tell a difference at all, and that saved us almost 50 to 100 kilobytes. So we'll go ahead and hit save, throw it on my desktop, and we'll just call it DM logo full width. We'll hit save. And let's jump back over here and let's just upload a new image real quick. So I'll upload files. We'll grab that full width image and hit open. And then once it loads in here, now I have the option up here to make this image full width. So if I click on that, you'll see it goes edge to edge. Now I can save it, and that's how you get that full width image on your portfolio website and the Behance website.